All Things Conceivable, a surrogacy podcast with Nazca Fontes.
Welcome to today's podcast, All Things Conceivable, a surrogacy podcast, and we have a terrific guest today. Her name is Kendra Aronson. She is a cookbook author, a food stylist, and the founder of Pregnant and Hungry, a website that has pregnancy-safe recipes and resources galore for surrogates and all pregnant women. We know that in our community, a lot of women deciding to become surrogates who are going through their journey or even thinking about becoming a surrogate, their health is at the top of their minds. And so in our program, we have created an all-in care and comp package that really puts a lot of focus on the health and nutrition from the very beginnings of a journey all the way through to that fourth trimester recovery. And nutrition and how you fuel your body during this phase is as important to you as it is for the baby you're carrying. Let's welcome our guest, Kendra Aronson.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, Kendra, Pregnant and Hungry. I love the name, right? I mean, it's so cheeky. It's so terrific. I think it transcends, everyone, not just pregnant women. But since today's episode is all about, pregnancy and nutrition, tell us about yourself and how you dreamed up Pregnant and Hungry.
Yes. So I am a food stylist and cookbook author. And I was having a conversation about prosciutto with one of my best friends who happened to be pregnant at the time. This is about 4 years ago. And she was telling me how she could not have prosciutto. She was avoiding deli meats. I had absolutely no idea that, it was suggested that you should avoid these things during pregnancy. Of course, I knew the kind of what everyone knows of avoid alcohol, quit smoking cigarettes. I knew those obvious avoidances, but I had no clue. And she started going off talking about avoiding turkey sandwiches. And she basically listed all of my favorite foods like sushi and unpasteurized juices and limiting your caffeine intake. And so in that moment, I was thinking, you're listing off my favorite foods. What will I eat when I am eventually pregnant one day? And I started to do a deep dive into the list of ingredients that they say you should avoid during pregnancy. And being a very curious person and lifelong learner, I was really interested in the why behind why you should avoid certain foods and ingredients. And I was noticing that there were tons of resources online, but there was no central location that contained all the information, plus with recipes that were pregnancy friendly. There are, of course, lots of pregnancy cookbooks out there on the market, but me being a cookbook author and a food stylist, I found that no cookbooks were really beautiful. They felt like textbooks. They felt like homework. They were not inspiring. They were very overwhelming. Mm-hmm. And so, I thought,
really like the joy of cooking, but for pregnant women.
Yeah, exactly.
A stark tome.
Yeah. I own every single pregnancy cookbook that's been out on the market for the past 20 years, just for market research. And, I just personally would never gift any of these books to anyone. They're not what cookbooks are today, where they're really coffee table worthy and they're beautiful and they inspire you. And so just doing that deep dive, I found that, hey, there's nothing really out there that's tapping into this market and making the information really approachable and digestible, pun intended. And so I decided okay, I want to make both an online resource and eventually a print cookbook to follow that is all about pregnancy-friendly recipes.
Well, I have to say before we take a deeper dive into this, I chuckled when you're talking about the stylistic aspect of cookbooks, right? Like, from Chrissy Teigen's cookbook on down the line, right? With Gwyneth Paltrow, those are just some that come to mind, at least for me. Like Ina Garden, I just love those cookbooks. They are true reads and not just something that you access to whip up dinner. I'm reminded of the early days of the pandemic where I just thought, well, this is my time to shine in the kitchen. And I pulled out all my cookbooks. I put them on the table. I went back to them time and time again with little sticky notes of what I was going to cook. But I was just so mesmerized by the pages and I think the more aspirational aspects. So truth be told, I didn't really do a whole lot of cooking, but nevertheless, we get it. That's the cookbook of today, right? That's the cookbook of today. So we want a little bit of entertainment with it too. So when you devised this idea and you thought we need a centralized repository, and I just, wish that was around back in the day for me when I was pregnant, because there are a lot of not only different ways to access the information, but some of it's conflicting and some of it just is, you're sort of questioning some of the common sense around it, right? Well, I'm sure women in Tokyo eat raw fish. Why can't we? There's just no way to get to the bottom of it. So I love that now we've got through Pregnant and Hungry, a repository. So, talking about pregnant women, how can you help women eat right for their pregnancy?
Yes. So if you go to pregnantandhungry.com, the way we've organized our recipes is you can filter them by pregnancy-specific ailments. So this includes if you're experiencing morning sickness, constipation, if you need recipes that are heartburn-free or very hydrating. Maybe you're preparing for your 4th trimester and you want to batch cook freezer-friendly recipes to store in your freezer for later when you need those one-handed meals. And then we also have recipes for gestational diabetes, gestational hypertension. When you're ready to go, we have labor-inducing recipes. And then again, we have lactation-inducing once the baby is out, and energy-boosting recipes to regain your energy. So we make it really easy that you can find all of these recipes that are very specific to your ailment. You can search by cravings. So if you're really craving something spicy, sour, salty, sweet, you can filter the recipes that way. And of course, these days there are so many dietary restrictions. So the main 4 that we focus on are dairy-free, gluten-free, vegan, and vegetarian. So it's a total breeze to filter through the site and find exactly what you need. And we also have PDF guides that relate to all these pregnancy ailments. So we dive deep into, okay, if you are experiencing morning sickness, here are the ingredients that are rich in certain nutrients that will help you get back on your feet. Or if you're constipated, eat these things. And so they're just really quick PDF guides. They're printable, downloadable, stick them on your fridge, give them to your partner, and they can help you do the grocery shopping. So yeah, our aim is to make it extremely easy and very approachable.
I think too, for intended parents who, often come to a surrogacy match, obviously concerned, right? They want the absolute best start for their unborn baby and future child. And so nutrition looms large in their minds. Like they want to be sure that their surrogate mother is eating properly. And what I loved about this is that when I joke that it transcends, it's not just for pregnant women, it's really for all. And surrogates are busy women. They have their own young families. And so I love the point that you made, and I don't want our listeners to not miss this, that there are options within your site to make freezer-friendly meals. And so when surrogates are busy and they're trying to cook for their families, this is a website that's not just for pregnant women, right? These are meals that she can make ahead of time and freeze for her family, right?
Exactly, yes.
How terrific is that? So it's a one-stop shop for all things nutrition related for a healthy pregnancy, and, to make it easier for the household.
Exactly. Yes.
So for women who are pregnant or want to become pregnant, nutrition looms large. To get the very best information on your site, you obviously have a knowledgeable team around you. We'd love to hear more about that team. Tell us about them.
Yes, definitely. So our recipes are developed under the guidance of an RDN, that's a registered dietitian nutritionist, my friend Tracy Chavor. And in addition to her expertise, I brought on my dear friend Megan Bokum. She is a licensed midwife in good standing with the California Medical Board. She's also a certified professional midwife as granted by the North American Registry of Midwives. She's a professional lactation consultant as certified by the IBCLC. That's the International Board of Lactation Consultant Examiners. And to add another feather to her cap, she is a certified women's herbal educator. And so I have these two incredible women who helped me from the get go with sourcing tons of peer reviewed medical journals. And we, of course, source from highly regarded worldwide health institutions. And those trusted sources I link to throughout the site. And those include the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, the American Pregnancy Association, the CDC, the FDA, Mayo Clinic, the NIH, and also we pull from all other English-speaking countries and their health organizations. So the Australian Government Department of Health, Health Canada, New Zealand Food Safety, and the NHS, that's the UK National Health Service. So it's really important to me to be extremely transparent with my personal trusted sources. And of course, if you want to do your own deep dive, we've linked to everything. And of course, disclaimer, this website, it's not intended to replace medical advice. Of course, consult your personal midwife or doctor or nutritionist with health questions related to your own pregnancy or postpartum journey.
A really trustworthy site, not just, recipes that taste good and are easy
Yes.
for your family or satisfy cravings or some other perhaps ailment or something that you want to tend to, but true science, which is so important for our listeners to know and understand. This is
Yes,
a team
definitely.
that really knows their stuff.
And speaking of recipes, I do want to brag about two of my recipe contributors. I'm just really impressed with all the women that are on my team. We are an all-women team, and there's two women I want to shout out to specifically. So there's Alicia Simpson. She is a certified lactation consultant and registered dietitian. She specializes in maternal and pediatric nutrition. She's the executive director and founder of a nonprofit clinical lactation practice called Peapod Nutrition. They're based in Georgia. And she serves over 1,000 Georgia families, all of socioeconomic backgrounds. She penned this wonderful book called Boost Your Breast Milk, which I absolutely love. So we have her contributing lactation-inducing recipes. And then another shout out I'd love to brag about is Janani Ram Nayaran. She and I actually connected through Instagram when I launched Pregnant and Hungry. She's an Indian woman in the UK, has a huge following. She created the organic baby food cookbook, and she loves whipping up super family friendly, easy, veg forward meals. And I just love the power of the internet, of how it brings everybody together. And again, everything is backed by science and data and trusted sources. So I'm excited for mamas to eat these meals.
For sure. I think we'd all love for them to drop by our own kitchens and help us out just a little bit. So
Yeah.
Shout out to these women.
Yes.
Let me pause there for a minute and ask more about the herbal education that you offer. I think that might be of particular interest to our listeners. Tell us more about that.
Yes, so the herbs that I'm referring to are culinary herbs, specifically dried or dried teas, herbal teas that can help alleviate morning sickness. They can be lactation inducing or even relieve constipation. So it's just another way to use wholesome, real food ingredients that are in the form of culinary herbs and dried herbs to enhance your overall diet.
When we think of diet and nutrition for pregnant women, this podcast again is specific to surrogate mothers. What would you say in a nutshell? I know there's so many factors that go into what's quote unquote ideal, but how would you summarize an ideal diet and the nutrition needed for a surrogate?
Yes. So on our website, we actually have a pregnancy eating 101 guide. It's a PDF, 2 pages. You can print it out, download it. And we're all about nutrient rich foods to benefit both you and the baby you're carrying. So this includes a wide variety of fruits, a wide variety of vegetables, nuts, meat, seafood, legumes, herbs, seeds, dairy, and grains. Basically, combining all of that together in a very wholesome, holistic way. And one point that my friend Megan, the consulting midwife on the project, she likes to think of eating well in 72-hour chunks. So instead of beating yourself up that, today in this one 24-hour period, I didn't have any seafood and, I was snacking on things that were, not nuts or good for you vegetables. Think of it in 72-hour periods. Give yourself grace. Give yourself 3 days of trying to hit all these different categories and everything in moderation, including moderation, and just eating a well-balanced diet where you know all the ingredients, you can pronounce them. There's no mystery preservatives and added things that should not be in food products. Like, just be very aware of what you're putting into your body.
What a great piece of advice. 72-hour chunks. I think that's very manageable for everybody, right? Because, sometimes we don't bring our best judgment, right? We do cave to craving. So I love that.
Exactly.
That worldview on how to approach, a healthy diet. And of course, on this 101, I've noticed too, I like that it's very simple. You break it out into 3 main buckets: foods to eat, foods to avoid, and of course, prenatal vitamins. So how can prenatal vitamins complement a pregnancy diet?
Yeah, so like you mentioned, our 3 main buckets of content. So the prenatal vitamins is, we believe in the power of wholesome eating. So in addition to taking a daily prenatal vitamin, we really encourage you to get your vitamins from natural, nutrient-rich ingredients. And so what we did on our prenatal vitamins page is we did a deep dive into, I believe it's 27 different prenatal vitamins. So these are the vitamins that are found in pill form. Again, me being that super curious, go down the rabbit hole researcher, I looked at all of these prenatal vitamins on the market, and I'd flip over the bottle and I would read the ingredients. Okay, why is calcium in here? What is calcium bringing to the table, for example? And I would deep dive into each prenatal vitamin, trying to find out more and understanding the why. So to continue on with this calcium example, calcium is responsible for healthy bone mineralization, muscle contractility, and hormone functioning. So when you're pregnant, calcium requirements increase to support the formation of a new skeleton, as well as support the physiological functioning of that little body. And it also brings additional benefits to the table. If you're sufficient in calcium, you have more stable blood pressure, which decreases the risk of pregnancy-induced hypertension and preterm birth. And so we give, again, just like little paragraph nuggets of what is each vitamin bringing to the table. And then we break down the daily intake suggestion for both pregnancy and lactation. And then, again, me being me, I want to know, give me something that's applicable to my life. What is a real food portion example of these milligrams? Because personally, my brain doesn't work in milligrams. I need to know. So for example, with calcium, they suggest 1,000 to 2,500 milligrams during pregnancy. Great. What does that mean? And so that could equate to 1.5 cups of tofu or 3 ounces of mozzarella. Great. Now I have a visualization of what that actually means to hit that daily intake number. And so you can, of course, take a prenatal vitamin from a pill, and then you can, supplement it with real, natural, wholesome ingredients, making delicious recipes, which in this case, if you're looking for mozzarella recipes, we have recipes that include that ingredient. So you know that you're hitting your calcium desired levels. And so that's how we organize the prenatal vitamins page.
I love that because it's so much more than, like you say, just swallowing a pill. I mean, to create nutrient-rich food in your own kitchen, satisfies a lot about a person. It's a family endeavor, for instance. It's, the joy of cooking with friends and, of course, satisfying the cravings.
Yes.
And you can't really get that satisfaction from a pill. So I love that your recipes look to the why as in terms of satisfying the nutritional needs of pregnant women. It's terrific. I mean, there's not a site like this out there. You've done an incredible job with this.
Thank you.
And really, and I think that it changes, right? The needs of a pregnant woman change during her pregnancy. And I love that you satisfy the need for perhaps cravings early on, moving forward to the end where you're trying to help induce lactation through these recipes. And it's just terrific. So there's something for everyone in their pregnancy journey through Pregnant and Hungry. And of course, our surrogates are very busy moms themselves. And so having ready-made grocery lists for meal planning and time management is also a huge, huge time savings. I mean, what a boon.
Yes. Yeah. Let me tell you about that function. I'm so excited about this. We spent a lot of time, my web developer and I, building out this tool, which I've also never seen before on any food website. So the way it works is when you have a subscription to Pregnant and Hungry, you log in, and within your dashboard, is where you can locate all the recipes that you've saved throughout the site. You can bookmark the ones that you are just saving, bookmarking. And then if you'd like to add a few select recipes to your meal plan, let's say that you have 20 saved, but this week you're going to tackle 5 recipes. So you add those to your meal plan, and then instantly your grocery list is generated off of those 5 recipes, and it's done all the math for you in terms of, let's say that recipe 1 calls for 2 eggs, recipe 2 calls for 3 eggs. Your grocery list will say buy 5 eggs. So it's done all the addition, saving you countless hours. I know because I'm an avid home cook, and that to me is the most time consuming when I've decided on all my recipes. Now I have to cross-reference every single ingredient list across multiple recipes.
Truly.
And then,
Truly.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you're speaking my language.
Yeah, and then you have to write one big master list, and inevitably you forget that you didn't check off one ingredient, so now you're running to the store multiple times.
Right. Coming home with 3 bunches of cilantro and 1 pound of butter when you needed a pound and a half of butter, and really 1 bunch of cilantro would have done
Exactly.
the trick.
Exactly. Yes. And then I've even organized it. Well, not me, the grocery store algorithm that we've built into our site has organized the list by where you find it in the grocery store. Regardless of the grocery store you go to, that you shop at, most grocery stores are set up the same. There's the produce section, meat and seafood, frozen, pantry. So this is, again, really trying to save you time, get you in and out of the store quickly. Like you mentioned, most surrogates have families of their own. They're towing children. They're juggling all the things. So here is a really efficient grocery list to get you in and out of the store quickly, organized by section. So you can just do a loop in the store and get out of there and get home cooking.
Incredible. So you've got the recipe saver, you've got the calculations built in, you've got a roadmap within the store. I mean, how much easier could this be? It's fantastic. I do think that your next endeavor should just be like, I'm a woman and hungry, right?
Yeah.
Just for the rest of us. For the rest of us.
Definitely.
So I mentioned earlier in our conversation that obviously intended parents, want the best environment. They want a surrogate that is going to eat healthy and prepare nutritious meals. And so do you have any advice or wisdom for how perhaps an intended parent and a surrogate can kind of partner in this endeavor so that a surrogate doesn't feel kind of watched, like there's a lot of support for her. She feels like she's got what she needs, and intended parents can kind of trust that the nutrition is being captured. What do you think about that?
Yeah, well, we have gift subscriptions. So the intended parent could gift a subscription to the surrogate. But yes, all kidding aside, we have so many, like I mentioned, PDF resources. If you go to pregnantandhungry.com/freebies, then you can download all of the free content, the PDFs there. Those include guides for all the pregnancy ailments that we touched upon earlier. So how to alleviate morning sickness now, gestational diabetes 101, how to coordinate a meal train. We're all about that as well. Energy boosting ingredients. So we have all these free guides. And then, of course, our main 3 buckets of content, the foods to eat, foods to avoid, and prenatal vitamins pages. There's those 3 pages. They're always free no matter what. It's really important for me to share as much education as possible. And, I think that, again, if you are able to follow that basic pregnancy eating 101, where you're trying your best in 72-hour chunks to get all those wholesome ingredients, fruits, veggies, nuts, meat, seafood, legumes, herbs, seeds, dairy, and grains, I think that the intended parents could maybe be supportive in maybe getting groceries delivered, or in the 3rd trimester, having freezer-friendly meals delivered, or even gifting a freezer to have so that during the lactation period that the surrogate is still getting well-nourished during that time.
I might even, I had just a little aha moment while you were talking, and I, in this period of life that we're in, this season of life where we're all, connected on video conferencing, having kind of a cooking date with each other where you're cooking the same recipe in each other's kitchen, and maybe you get to sit down and share it. It's not the same as being in person, but I think that that's a lovely way to share in the endeavor of cooking a healthy meal together.
Yeah, definitely. Or even if the intended parents have, done the research to know, okay, what are pregnancy-friendly recipes or ingredients, and perhaps, having several recipes printed out to mail over and say, hey, we can cook through this together via Zoom. That would be so fun. Yeah.
Wouldn't that be great?
I love that idea. Uh-huh.
I wish that I could claim that as an original thought, but I think I'm co-opting that from a TV commercial that I saw.
Nice. Whatever gets people cooking and enjoying each other. It sounds good. Sounds good to me.
I would agree with that. So, Kendra, what else do you have cooking? What else is going on with Pregnant and Hungry?
Yes, so the original idea from the get-go was the cookbook, but then I got this idea for the website, and so I decided to launch that first. So I am currently shooting the rest of the recipes. I do all the food styling and food photography that's up on the website, and so I'm working my way through all the recipes that are currently up and styling and shooting those images, which is a very big undertaking. And in the next month, I should have every single recipe on the site will have a photo. So that's keeping me very busy. And then I'll be able to redirect my energy towards working on the print cookbook. So again, same concept of the site. Of course, the site has more functionality with the ability to meal plan and generate grocery lists, but the print cookbook will be very exciting to be able to hold it in my hands and gift it to people that I love, and to have the book. My dream would be that, someone's having a baby shower and my cookbook is gifted multiple times. It's the item that every new mama or surrogate needs in their life. And so I am slated to release that book in the spring of, or not the spring, sorry. What year am I doing this? I pushed it back to 2023. I need a little more time to get it together. I'm self-publishing again. I self-published my first cookbook, so I need a little more wiggle room. So that's what I'm currently cooking up.
Oh man, terrific. And I would say for all of our listeners who are not pregnant and hungry, but know somebody that is pregnant and hungry, what a great gift to put on your radar for when it comes out on the marketplace. I can't think of a better gift to give a pregnant woman than the gift of health and nutrition throughout her pregnancy in the form of one of your terrific cookbooks. So Kendra, thank you. This has been awesome and just so supportive for our surrogate community and for our all-in surrogate compensation and care package that extends all the way through the fourth trimester. There's a lot of great stuff on your site, and certainly it's going to be a huge benefit to this community. So thank you for that.
Yes, of course. Thank you. And for all your listeners out there, if you use the code Surrogate at checkout, you will get your first month free on a monthly subscription. And we also have free trials, so you can try it out for free for 2 weeks as well. And then when you're ready to commit, use that code Surrogate at checkout.
That's terrific. And just a reminder for everybody, that's pregnantandhungry.com. So thank you to our guest today, the author of Pregnant and Hungry and founder of a wonderful website and repository of terrific information, Kendra Aronson. We thank you for this, and I know our listeners are going to have a great listen. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, what a super guest, talking about a topic that's near and dear to my heart, food. And I can't think of a better way to help support our surrogate community from the early days of a journey all the way through to recovery in the fourth trimester. Having Pregnant and Hungry on the show today really helped showcase the importance of nutrition and that we could all use new ways to support that endeavor of eating better. And remember, listeners, please consult your healthcare provider before embarking on any health and nutrition plan during your pregnancy and postpartum journey. Thank you, listeners, and I'll look for you next time. Take care.
At Conceivabilities, we believe that everyone who wants to become a parent can. Our agency has helped build thousands of families for nearly 25 years. Whether you are an intended parent ready to fulfill your family destiny, a surrogate answering your calling, or an egg donor wanting to expand what's possible in your life, we are your people. See how matching matters. Learn more by joining our Surrogacy Learning Center community at surrogacylearningcenter.conceivabilities.com.